There we go. Wales are champions of the Six Nations. Who would have thought it before the start of the campaign? Amazing to be a Welshman this evening. Absolutely fantastic. As France didn't quite get the job done, did they, over Scotland? So Wales are champions of the Six Nations. We're going to have a look back at the campaign, see where it was won and lost for Wales, the key moments, and the players who really stood out over the tournament. As always, if you're new here, do hit that subscribe button. Over 80% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free to do. And of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I read every single comment and get back to every single comment. Let's get into it. So let's have a look back at the games. Of course, Wales' first match was against Ireland down at the Principality Stadium. And going into this one, you felt both teams were very much in a transition stage. And I think the expectation for Wales going into this tournament, fourth, maybe even fifth, for a lot of people would have said that's where Wales was going to finish after a very poor 2020. But that first game, Wales winning 21 points to 16 at home. Tries for George North and Louis Rees-Zammit was enough for Wales. But of course, the big talking point was the red card for Peter O'Mahony, who crashed into Thomas Francis at the breakdown. A certain red card, and it kind of set up a theme for Wales throughout the rest of the tournament. But next, they headed up north to face the Scots in Murrayfield. Now, this game I was very worried about. Against Ireland, Ireland weren't really attacking enough in that game, but we knew that Scotland were going to come at us. We're going to come out flying with some beautiful rugby, and we're going to really look to attack us. And they certainly did that as they raced into an early lead through tries for Darcy Graham, Stuart Hogg. But a try just before half-time gave Wales hope, and in the 64th minute, once again, we saw another red card. Is there some conspiracy theories going on as Xander Ferguson was sent off for Scotland for charging into a clear-out and taking out Wyn Jones through contact to the head? The referee decided that it should be a red card. A comeback was on course as Louis Rees-Zammit, Johnny Williams and Wyn Jones all scored tries for Wales, as Wales won that very nervy 25 points to 24. We had to wait 2 weeks. We had a 2-week break before we faced the old enemy, before we faced England down at the Principality. Usually it would be full to the rafters of people singing, of people chanting, probably giving a little bit of crap to the opposition as well. But of course, it wouldn't be a Wales win without some more controversy, as Wales won this one 40 points to 24. The first time Wales have put 40 points on England. And the first two tries were questionable. I won't get too much into them. I did do a reaction to that. There'll be a link in the description down below and up in the I button. And wow, what a game it was. And although we did have those two controversial moments, you've got to say that Wales were the better team and deserved to win on the night. And there's some brilliant rugby played from Wales. We had another 2 weeks off. We had a break, as the reality, the potential of a Grand Slam really was on the cards for Wales. And it was the first time, I think, where we were really beginning to talk about it, having beaten Scotland, Ireland and England. We headed out to Rome, and let's be totally honest, Italy were very, very poor on the day. A dismal display from the Italians. Saw Wales get the bonus point before half-time. And in the second half, maybe loosened our grip a little bit on the game, maybe took a back seat, as Italy did get a brilliant try through Monty Ione. But we got the win out in Italy, a very comfortable win, and the Grand Slam was very much on the cards. We then had the French in Paris, France being one of the form teams in the world, also very much a wounded animal, having lost to England by 23 points to 20 the week before down at Twickenham. Probably the best player in the world in Antoine Dupont. You had some brilliant players such as Jalibert, Vakatawa, Olivon in the forwards, just to name a few. It was going to be a huge clash down in the Stade de France. But our dreams were dashed of a Grand Slam, weren't they? As Bryce Dulin scored in the final play of the game to give France a 32 points to 30 win. In the Stade de France, it was a heartbreaking moment for Wales fans. And we saw 4 cards, 3 of them being yellow, 1 being red. But in the end, being down to 13 men really took its toll on the side, as France won that one. But then, of course, France didn't do enough to get the job done against the Scots. So Wales are Six Nations champions. So what are the big talking points from this campaign? Well, a couple of points I really thought about that were key for us. The first one was 2020 was an awful year. And so going into this Six Nations, I think the expectation, as I said at the start of the video, was potentially to finish 4th or 5th, or maybe even push for 3rd if possible. But nobody thought would be competitive enough to really challenge for this title, with the likes of England looking powerful, France having had a brilliant 12 months. Scotland playing some brilliant rugby as well, with one of the best 10s in the world marshalling their attack. But for all of our expectations and for all of our pessimistic maybe viewpoint on the side, we absolutely outdid all of them concerns, and we played some brilliant rugby along the way. But the main thing for me was the way that we kept going until the end. The lads seemed to have that effort, seemed to have that want to prove people wrong. Something maybe in 2020 where I think we'll get onto in a bit about Pivac's style of play and have we seen enough of that. But I think the players recognise where they were at. I think the coaching team recognise where they're at, and they're like, right, what are we known for? We're known for our fitness. We're known for our defence. Let's go back to those things that we're very, very good at, and let's keep them as the core piece of our team and the way we want to play. And we absolutely saw that. We saw that against Ireland. We saw that against Scotland. And we are very much a counter-attacking team. We get the job done, don't we? We don't win by miles, but we get the job done, and we've got some few special players who can create something out of nothing. But the team ethic, the absolute unity in that team, led by the wonderful Alan Wynne-Jones, was so central to this team. And that's one of the reasons why we won the Six Nations. The second point, as I just mentioned, it is about Wayne Pivac's style of rugby, known for brilliant rugby, flowing, fast, attacking rugby. And we saw that at the Scarlets. Have we truly seen that at Wales? I'd say no. And I think it's going to be really interesting for Pivac now, looking ahead towards the summer, the autumn internationals, next year's Six Nations, and of course a World Cup then in 2023, so 2 years away. Has he got enough time between now and then to really implement his style? Because we've won the Six Nations, which is crazy to think of, but we have not seen his style, have we? We've not seen the attacking style that we want to work. And I think after last year, he quickly realised that these players probably aren't ready for that yet. And I have to be patient and work out. And again, he'd known the pressure was on. He'd known the press was on his back. Fans on his back. And the Welsh Rugby Union would have had conversations. We saw, of course, a defence coach leave early on after some poor performances. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he changes his style much or he sticks to this. At the end of the day, it's working. And the only reason we lost against France, 13 men down, discipline was a bit of an issue. And France are a brilliant side. So it'll be interesting to see if we can see more of his style. The third big point from this tournament for me is some of the brilliant players we have seen coming through. Just to name a few, Kieran Harley. People will know I'm not the biggest fan of him before the tournament, but he was brilliant. Came on against Scotland, had a brilliant impact, and we'll talk about his partner at 10 in just a second. And then against England, got the nod to start in this one after Thomas Williams was injured, and absolutely took his opportunity, sped the game up, took his try really well, took the game to England, sped the game up. And it's something that we needed, because sometimes when we are on the front foot, we're not confident enough to try things. We're not confident enough to throw the pass out, to try the kick across field. We're not confident enough. And he really epitomised that we should just go for things. We should really trust our ability, because we are a very, very talented side. The player, of course, is Callum Sheedy. He came off the bench again against Scotland. We've seen that pattern as Pivac brings Sheedy on around the 50th minute mark for Biggar. He offers that more attacking element than Biggar would, although maybe his control of the game isn't at the level of Dan Biggar. He's still very much an attacking-minded player who can absolutely open defences. His kicking game improved after Scotland, and he kicked some really important points against England. And do you know what? He's pushing Biggar. I don't think he starts over Biggar, but he's certainly pushing him. And the final name we have to talk about, of course, one of the form wingers in the world in Louis Rees-Zammit. What an entrance this man made against Ireland. And then that second try against Scotland, just to back his pace, and the kick and the execution and the finish was brilliant from Louis Rees-Zammit. Absolutely brilliant from him. And playing for a very poor Gloucester side, we've got to say, if there was relegation in this year's Gallagher Premiership, Gloucester would be in a lot of trouble. And so the kid is very, very exciting, backs himself, is confident, he's a humble lad as well, and works hard. And he really is a find for us, and probably is going on the Lions tour. And finally, we've got to talk about looking ahead to the next few months. Of course, a Lions tour is coming ahead. That has been confirmed. We're covering a lot of that on the channel, so be sure to be subscribed for that. And also then we have the autumn internationals. The All Blacks are coming to Cardiff. It'll be a massive test for us. It'll be interesting to see where we're at and to see how we compare to the likes of New Zealand. And then, of course, we have next year's Six Nations. And after that, we have a World Cup. So it's going to be really interesting, as I said before, see what Pivac does over the next couple of years, whether he changes his style much or he sticks to it, whether he looks to bring some new players in. And I think the Welsh game in Wales in general, looking at the whole thing, is in a decent place. 3 teams from the Pro 14, 3 of the regions have qualified for Champions Cup Rugby, that being Cardiff Blues, Scarlets and Ospreys. All teams are in Europe, heading into next weekend's opening fixtures of the quarter-finals. And also, a lot of players coming back to play for the regions now or signing new contracts. It's really exciting to see that. And ahead of next season, we'll have a lot more Welsh players based in Wales, which can only help and improve the game. And hopefully, as crowds come back, people come back to watch the international stars. But there we go. That's my wrap-up of the Six Nations for Wales. Over the course of the next week, there'll be a team of the tournament. They'll be grading each team's Six Nations. There'll be tier lists of different squads. So make sure you're subscribed for that. And also, as always, make sure you like the video and comment your thoughts down below. I read every single comment. And of course, I respond to every single one. The love on the channel recently has been amazing, so I massively appreciate it. Anyway, enjoy the rugby over the next few weeks. There's a lot going on. I'll see you very soon here on BS Rugby. Peace.